to study the science of happiness and try to incorporate the 12 keys of well-being into my daily life. I've written 2 books about how we make this research accessible and adaptable. I try to be authentic and practice what I preach. So I did what most people would say is the craziest thing that they would never do. Now, not skydiving, because I've already done that and I loved it, but I signed up for a stand-up comedy class. Now, I have no intention of leaving my full-time job or being a comedian, but my ego wanted to enhance my public speaking skills, and everyone wants to be a little funnier. Spoiler alert, they don't teach you how to be funny or write jokes in comedy school. So as an ADHD dyslexic full-time working mom, attention to detail is not my biggest strength. I missed the first class. I show up at the second class ready to learn how to write jokes. And we were supposed to perform for the class that day. So cue my improv skills, made up some jokes and made it through it. But then we learned that in 6 days, we were to be performing live at a public club. I didn't get that memo when I paid for the stand-up comedy class. I had 6 days to perform. Again, they didn't teach us how to write jokes or be funny. They wanted us to have experimental learning, learn on the job. Okay, here I am. I have 6 days to write content for a gig or a bit. I don't know, I never really got the lingo. I'm not a professional comic. So instead of panicking or retreating, I paid money for this class and had Tuesdays off my mom duty, so I wasn't going to waste it. I'm up for the challenge. I looked at my social network for support. So I called friends, family, professional peers, and let them know what I had gotten myself into and needed their help. Most people started sweating at the idea of me doing stand-up comedy as though it was going to actually be them on stage. The fear, and I really understood people's public speaking fears and why this was the last thing anyone would ever do. It's too late for that. I've signed up for it. So I needed some people to help me. I did have a group of people who just wanted to find out where I was performing to watch me bomb. But I had some friends who were really up for the challenge and were able to step in and help me. Case in point, cheerleader number 1, AKA Mom. Mom is always there for me and was supportive. So she wanted to help so bad. She watched countless YouTube videos about how to write jokes, how to be a stand-up comedian, and she started watching stand-up specials, of which this is not her passion. She just wants to help me. Also, I didn't know my mom knew how to use YouTube, so go Mom. She would take notes on joke writing. She even called her network, all her friends, her bingo club and book club, to ask what is the funniest stories that they have, what's happened to them that could be translated into jokes. And she was calling me 10 times a day and telling me to get a pen and paper and to write this down. And we have a term in the South that we use. It's, bless her heart, let's just say it means that she's trying, but she was supportive and I appreciated it. And she learned how to write jokes. I had friends calling and texting me about their hilarious past experiences. Everyone wanted to let me know about funny things that they've had. I also got a lot of really bad jokes that people were very proud of and wanted me to use in my routine. I never used any jokes that anyone wrote for me. It wasn't my sense of humor, but I'm glad that they were really proud of it. And I listened and put my poker face on for them. Uniquely, I found myself in the stream of consciousness of writing all the time from my experiences. I've known that journaling is positive and can boost happiness, but it's never been a routine to me, and I've never been motivated to continue the practice until I started this comedy course. I was so inspired and just was an out-of-body experience of wanting to write down everything that has happened to me that was funny. I couldn't believe how many hilarious experiences I've had, from interactions on airplanes to travel to language communication issues to, the perfect timing of the spilled coffee. I found so many experiences and jokes that just came from my own experience, and I filled pages and pages of notes. I remember people and events from decades ago. It felt really good. It's now time for me to go on stage. I'm going to debut my stand-up comedy experience. I was sweating. I get a red rash on my neck when I'm nervous. I got on stage and I couldn't differentiate where the stage would drop off. The lights were so bright. I couldn't see anyone at first. It took a minute to get situated. And then I look out to the audience and realize that my jokes were not going to land. You see, I was writing about being a new mom, pregnancy jokes, labor. And my audience, I think there were 2 women in the audience and most men over 60. Oh well, it was definitely too late for improv. But I did it. Probably at the speed of a chipmunk because my voice speeds up when I'm nervous. So I don't know if anyone actually knew what I was saying, but I did it. And when I was done, my classmates were kind and generous about my performance. I know it wasn't the best presentation I've ever given, but I got through it. I could check that box. And others did too. Some I was so proud and was laughing hysterically. Others, I know that this was hard and uncomfortable for them and got to show empathy. The cool thing about this experience is we were all newbies and we were all doing it together. This class gave us several opportunities to get up in front of a crowd and enhance our abilities. Each performance allowed me to gain more confidence, tweak my joke timing, and adapt my content to a wider audience. I was ready for our graduation and the big finale show. I invited my office, some friends, my peers. I had a drink beforehand. I was ready to go. I'd done this several times now. And right before I'm about to go on, I see the door open, and here comes my mother-in-law and her friends who have really big, kind hearts, and they like to drink. And they decided to support me. Great. I wonder if I'm going to be invited to the next holiday because I'm going to tell sex jokes about your son. It's fine. It all worked out. I had additional experience post-class to open up for some local comics and just acknowledge that each opportunity was a learning experience and allowed me to share and tweak a new skill that I had. I want to share with you one happiness hack that I learned from Sonia Libernierski, a happiness researcher. Happiness equals reality minus expectations. Happiness equals reality minus expectations. Now, so often we can't or modify reality, but we can manage expectations. So one trick that I used to appear funnier to the audience was to hack the happiness equation when doing my bio. So typically you're allowed to write sort of your introduction and the MC will read it off of a Post-it or postcard. So mine would typically say, our next comedian or wannabe comedian is Elle Benson. Now is a great time to go get a drink, feed your meter, go to the bathroom. She's not very funny. And that would be my bio. I want their expectations to be so low. I want the bar to be so low that I can just barely roll over it. And if I end my routine just being slightly funnier than what they had anticipated, then they're happy, which makes me happy. Over the course of 6 weeks of my stand-up comedian class, I had a different vision and different perspective. They say that we walk around thinking 80% negative thoughts. I really believe during this experience, it was 80% positive for me. I was intentionally slowing down, being more present, and asking in this moment, what is funny? What is quirky? What is unique? Or what is so commonplace that it could be hilarious to someone? What negative thing has happened to me today that I can turn funny? I was becoming an overly annoying, optimistic person, but I loved it. In reflecting on my experience and tying it to research, it directly correlates with the happiness research that boosts positive psychology. From my experience, it was enhanced social connection. I was able to engage with new friends and old friends, tying it to my experience. I created a mindfulness journaling practice that I still keep up with today. I set a goal and follow through with it more routinely now because of this experience. I can do stand-up comedy and not quit. I can do something else. I had an opportunity to express gratitude and evoke empathy. I had daily reframing of activities and was able to reset my thinking patterns. I know that my happiness increased during this experience, and I think it did for my network secondhand as well, without them having to stand on stage. I want to encourage you to try something new. Shake up how you experience the world, and how can you share that with those that you love?